Welcome to Gail's Kitchen. Today we're making a Maryland-style crab cake. The Maryland-style crab cake is made with the sweet meat of the blue crab. It has its own distinct characteristics that make it a standout. It's quite different from its southern cousin, the crab cake patty. When I first moved to the Chesapeake Bay region, I was told that Maryland is for crabs. The recipe we're going to use today is for 1 pound of crab meat. And I actually have 1 pound of crab meat that's been picked from some leftover steamed crabs. This is a combination of jumbo lump as well as claw meat. If you buy crab meat in the store, you can get a pound of lump, you can get a pound of jumbo lump. Most restaurants will use jumbo lump to make their crab cakes. So when you buy your crab meat from the store, you want to handle it very carefully, especially if you're buying the jumbo lump, because you don't want to break up those big chunks of crab meat. But you do want to go through the meat very gently and pick out any pieces of shell that could still be remaining in the crab meat. So the first thing we're going to do is combine all of our ingredients other than our crab meat and our filler. So you want 2 heaping tablespoons of mayonnaise, 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of fresh lemon juice, 1/2 tablespoon of Worcestershire sauce. We're going to season this with parsley and Old Bay seasoning. I'm going to use 2 teaspoons of dried parsley. If you have fresh parsley, just wash that, chop it, and use about a tablespoon. Now add 1.5 to 2 teaspoons of Old Bay seasoning. If you are like me and you're using crab meat that was previously steamed with Old Bay as well as J.O.s seasoning, you probably want to go very scant with the Old Bay and maybe use celery seed instead, because Old Bay has a lot of salt. That's why I'm not adding any salt to the recipe today. Now we place our 1 pound of crab meat on top of the sauce. The typical Maryland crab cake does not use onions, celery, or peppers of any sort. I have from time to time added about a tablespoon of some very finely minced yummy peppers, red yummy peppers. I find that gives a very nice flavor. It adds just a little color to the crab cake, and I really like that. The filler of choice for the Maryland style crab cake is a saltine cracker. Feel free to use the club crackers or any buttery flavored cracker that you like. I'm just going to crush these over top of the crab meat. You may want to do this in a little baggie with your rolling pin because you don't want big pieces of the cracker. And now you want to use a flexible spatula and very gently fold this. So you very gently fold this mixture over, trying not to break up any of those big lumps of crab meat. A traditional Maryland jumbo lump crab cake is filled with all of these big lumps of crab meat. I'm actually using the lump, the claw meat, which that's part of the claw meat. It has that little dark membrane. And I'm using the back fin. This is actually a big piece of claw meat here, which I love the claw meat. That's actually my favorite part. So you just want to very lightly toss that. And then the next step is we let this sit for 1 hour in the refrigerator. They're definitely better after they've been sitting in the refrigerator for about an hour and the filler has soaked up some of that sauce, and it makes it easier to shape them. I'm using 1/2 cup measure. I have this round 1/2 cup measure. And the traditional Maryland crab cake is not a patty. It's in the form of a mound. So just pack that meat in there. This recipe makes 6 crab cakes. And you want to take the mound and kind of mash it together so all the meat stays in place. There's very little filler in these crab cakes. So we have 6 beautiful rounded crab cakes. And one last step before we put these into a very warm oven. We are going to brush these with some melted butter. I definitely suggest this because it makes the crab cake brown up so beautifully. Now these are going into a 450-degree oven on the middle rack for 12 to 15 minutes until they're just getting a nice light brown color. So that's at 15 minutes and they are done the way I like them. I checked them at 12 minutes. They had not browned up as much as I would like. You just want a little bit of brown on them. You don't want them to get toasty brown. Serve them warm, squeeze a little lemon juice over the top. The typical Maryland crab cake has the mounded shape. It's typically not fried, although I have seen people fry them. They are usually broiled. I cook them in a very warm oven. Fine with the broiler, they can tend to get a little too brown on the top too quickly. I love to serve these with fresh corn on the cob.